to get started here with this weekend. Obviously, Watkins Glen, it's a very special place for you. You've raced here a number of times. You got your first K&N win a few years ago. What's it feel like to you to return to this place and to be able to race here every year?
Yeah, like I said, it's a special place for us. Kind of gone over in the past. My dad grew up watching races here back in the 70s, so it's been in the family for a while. And to have my first NASCAR win here in 2014 in the K&N series was really big for me. And we've just had good success. Had a couple wins, one more win in K&N, and run really well here in the past in Xfinity. So I just love coming back here.
Did you come here as a fan? You said your dad?
Yeah, I came here as a fan. So we came here to watch vintage races a lot. We'd camp, and so we came to a NASCAR weekend in 2007. So 7 years later, I came on the same weekend and won a race. So it's a pretty cool kind of full circle deal that happened here.
And your dad was in the 70s, you said, came here?
Yeah, he kind of grew up near here. It was the closest big track, and so he'd come here and watch like the Can-Am races or some of the more endurance races that would come here. Yeah. So, like I said, I had a special place for him, and so like Victory Lane in 2014, he got to see me win there after he'd been coming here for 40 plus years. Yeah. So it's special for the whole family.
Yeah. And you returned to the K&N series. It was your first race in a year, and you finished third. It was a very solid run out there.
Yeah, it was cool. Ted Marsh and Marsh Racing, those guys over there, they're backed by William Engineering and Top Rung, which are two really great supporters. We had a lot of fun with Top Rung after the race. They're a bunch of great guys, and they bring a great car. They don't have they don't run full time as much anymore, but when they show up with a really good car. So it was fun to go out there and have one of their best runs of the year and really put on a good performance in front of some of their sponsors.
Did that kind of knock the rust off for you? Because 2017 was a pretty slow year. Were you really able to get back into the bug of getting behind the wheel?
Yeah, I think it was good. Especially practice yesterday, it was totally rained out.
Right.
So getting to have some dry time because the race was really only dry time I had on track yesterday. So allowed me to knock the cobwebs off. Obviously, getting back in these cars after driving the sports cars, it's a whole different feel. So to kind of get back in and get that brake pedal feel and really appreciate the power and some of the finesse you have to have with these cars, it's pretty important.
Yeah, Austin Cindric, when I think of sports cars, the stock car guys, he's really one of the bigger ones. He's in this race here today. Has he been somebody who you've been talking to a little bit? Are there any specific guys, I guess I would say?
Yeah, Austin I've known. We've kind of been almost like flip-flop a little bit. Like I came from obviously doing the K&N series, and then I went to sports car stuff. Then we had a bit of a crossover period. He was doing sports car stuff, and then he came to NASCAR. Yeah. I like Austin. He's a good guy. And definitely a great road course racer. So it'd be fun to watch him today. And like I said, there's a bunch of guys that kind of seem to have pretty good crossover now. Like I feel like it's more common than it ever has been for some road course guys to come over and compete in these races.
Yeah. He said he had to make a decision between what series he wanted to race. Like he got some really big opportunities in the sports cars. Obviously with his father, Tim Cindric helping, but he had to take down those opportunities that come to NASCAR because this is where he wanted to be. Was it kind of similar for you, or is it just where the opportunities led you?
Yeah, that's pretty much the story of my racing career is it's not so much decisions of mine of where I've raced. So we made the decision to go to late models and sort of go to K&N, but after 2015, it's all been about where are the opportunities, where can we go, that's competitive and wants us there, and basically where the offer's coming from, and that's what led us to sports car racing. And unfortunately, basically since 2015, haven't had too many opportunities in NASCAR. It seems like it's getting tougher every day over here, and I've been fortunate enough to have some great opportunities in sports car racing. I currently race for Lone Star Racing and Pirelli World Challenge, and they've been really good to me, and so I kind of just feel like that's the point where I'm at is I'm chasing the places that I feel like give me the best chance to go win.
Yeah, can you kind of describe what 2015, because 15 was your last K&N season, correct?
Yeah, 15,
yes.
Yeah.
And then just after that, I guess you just something happened and you ended up out of a ride.
Yeah, basically, to sum it up, we had been searching all through 2015 to kind of firm up our 2016 plans, and nothing really came along where it made it an obvious decision for us to go either ARCA racing or truck racing or whatever the next level is. And basically didn't have the backing to step up to that next level, and it became a pretty easy decision after we got some offers from sports car teams to go over there. And I knew I had a pretty good road course background, and I knew I could probably get the job done there, and so honestly it's been a great move for me to go over there.
Yeah. Was really last year a sports car year for you? Was that really your main?
Yeah. Last year was actually got a chance to race in Europe with a team over there, Black Falcon, heavily associated with AMG Mercedes. So that was a really cool year getting to race. It was only a 5-race schedule, so it wasn't super thick, but it was endurance series. So got to learn how to share the car with other drivers and really get a feel for that, because it really takes a whole different level, of sort of being able to analyze the car and kind of have a middle ground between all the different drivers, because obviously everyone has their own little style. So that was really beneficial for me to learn. And this year it's still a sports car year. I mentioned Lone Star. Actually, Mike Skeen, who's racing this Xfinity race, is my teammate over there. And so it's kind of building off that experience in Europe and carrying that over to the States.
Yeah. Is that your day job, really racing?
Yeah.
Or do you do stuff on the side?
Basically, what I do in between racing is coaching. I do a lot of coaching on track days for guys who just want to improve. Aren't serious about racing necessarily, but they want to improve their driving ability, and they have fun with it. I do have an engineering degree, so I've thought about sort of pursuing that in part-time, but I found it's really hard to strike a balance, while you're trying to pursue racing versus having a job like that.
Where's your engineering degree from?
Miami University in Ohio.
Okay. Not many drivers have degrees.
Yeah.
I know Ryan Newman is the big one who everyone talks about, but you kind of stand out that way.
Yeah, it's a little different. I think it's, maybe a little more common nowadays. People realize, personally, my parents, and I agree with this logic, is you never know where racing is going to lead. You hope that you're going to have a ride year after year, but the reality is it's tough to get to the racetrack. So, it's good to have that sort of second passion, and I do love engineering. I love it, in the car world. That's kind of the application that I would use it in. So it's good to have that second passion and have something you can use it in, and that way you don't feel like if a ride doesn't happen, you're going to be sitting out on the street.
Yeah. You think a lot of kids, because a lot of younger kids are getting into Xfinity trucks almost right away at 17, 18, and a lot of them don't feel like they need to pursue a college career at that point. Do you think that's obviously maybe not the best path to go down?
Yeah, I think that's a mistake. I mean, let's be honest. How many drivers in the end make a consistent living driving a race car? The people who do are blessed individuals, and basically, I think it's smart to have, maybe not a backup plan is the wrong way to say it, but to realize that there are other alternatives, and there's more to life than racing. I'm extremely passionate about it. I hope every year I get to, until I decide that it's time to retire, that I get to drive a race car competitively. I think that's the main goal, but I do feel like some dose of realism is always healthy.
Yeah, you're not a one-trick pony.
Exactly.
As you said, if this racing thing, doesn't work out, what that's been like these last few years, kind of being in and out. That if you never do get back to the track, to the race car, that you do have other skills.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. So when it came to this BJ McLeod Motorsports team, you raced Chicagoland for them a couple years ago as well. When it came to really starting your relationship with the team, it seems like a team that would be perfect for a guy who's trying to get back into the sport.
Yeah, I've had a relationship with BJ for a really long time, actually. Back a few years ago, way before he had an Xfinity team, he was running a super late model driver development program. So me and Matt Tift, who I'm sure people know, were his first two drivers, and we raced with him for a long time in the super late model ranks, so we've become essentially family here, and so he knows that I have a high passion for road course racing and to get the job done. So any chance he can to get me in the car at any road course he takes me up on. So it really special to come back, and I love the opportunity to just come back and get in the NASCAR stock car. We did Chicago. I needed to finish my approval actually, so I was fully Xfinity approved. So it was just smart moves.
Yeah, and people see you as a road racer, of course, but half of your starts have been on ovals, kind of 2 and 4. I mean, do you feel that you're really growing? I mean, you learned a ton in K&N, of course, but do you feel you're growing as a driver when it comes to this series?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it was my first 1.5 mile race, and so I think it was important to go do it. It's a whole different style of racing, something certainly way different than any sports car racing, but even different than any short track. So I think it's important to race side by side. Unfortunately, I had a few problems, but I always consider myself, like when I was racing K&N, they always kind of said I was the road course ringer, but I always had a pretty high level of success on the ovals as well, and I like kind of going back there and touching up and refining, learning a lot. I mean, every time you go to the track on an oval, you're constantly learning, especially at a place like Chicago, which so many different grooves and so many, the track is so unique.
What's the feedback from BJ been about? I mean, I don't know if he had his expectations in stone for you, or he was kind of open-minded to what you were going to be able to do.
Yeah, I think he's been happy so far. We, a couple years ago, we did a couple road course races, and he was happy then. We actually we were just outside the top 10 at Road America, and got spun around right at the last corner, which was a big bummer for these guys. But coming into this race, I think the expectations were, qualify about where we qualify, right around the top 20, and then these races get so crazy, as everyone knows, and realistically, we won't have top 10 speed. We might have top 15 long run speed. So I think the hope is that if things go our way, we could be in that 15th, 12th area. That would be like a great day for us.
Yeah, for sure. You mentioned Mike Skeen a little bit earlier before. I feel that I don't know what it's like to be a driver in this series, but to have someone like him kind of makes you not feel like you're such an outsider.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Mike's the outsider. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, Mike, he is a road course ringer. I'm not sure he is. I don't want to speak in absolutes, but I don't think he has any oval experience. But he can drive anything. You put him in a high downforce prototype car or a big old stock car, he's going to get the job done. So he's been a great teammate for me over at Lone Star, and it's been really cool to have him there. And because he's even more experienced than I am, certainly. So I've learned stuff from him, and I feel like we come back over here, we're certainly on an even playing ground because I have lots of experience on this side of things. So I'm looking forward to racing against him. I wish we could do it more often. Yeah.
Are there any all-around racers that you've kind of looked up to? Like when I think of like Ambrose or Montoya, guys who went all around the country, they did sports cars and
back
open
and
wheel.
Yeah, I think you touched on it. I'm not sure there's, you look at a cluster of the top Cup guys. Also, I feel like can go anywhere. Like Larson, Kyle Busch, Truex. Those guys who run up front constantly, they don't seem to be bad anywhere, which I think there's a lot to appreciate there because there's so many different styles and crafts you have to really perfect at all these different tracks. So just kind of appreciating that and their ability to get the most out of the car no matter what track they're on is always impressive.
Do you feel you're ready for a full-time Xfinity ride?
Yeah, I think so. I've always wanted to do kind of a full-time NASCAR ride, and I'd love to if the opportunity came up. And it's still something we search for. We haven't completely kind of forgotten about the NASCAR side of things, and that's one of the reasons I love to come back and do these races, even if it's only a couple times a year, because I feel like that keeps me in the seat, keeps me, sort of in the loop on the NASCAR side of things.
Are they bringing you back for Road America?
Yeah, I'll be back at Road America. Mid Ohio is a clash. I actually will be racing the Lone Star Mercedes next weekend in Utah. Okay. So definitely Road America. We've had some talks about the Charlotte Roval, but obviously that's a little bit ways away. So we'll see when we get closer there. Yeah,
you did Chicago. I mean, any ovals open?
No, we haven't talked about the ovals yet. Chicago happened about the week of. So,
Was it? Yeah.
So you never know, things might pop up, and I hope they do, because I love going back there, and hope kind of play by ear.
Yeah, and what's your sports car schedule? You said it was a 5-race thing, but that was last year.
Yeah, last year. It's honestly been a pretty light schedule as well. We've had 3 races so far, 3 race weekends. Every race weekend has a couple races, a couple 60-minute sprint races. So, so we'll have Utah next weekend, and then that's the final race of that schedule. But towards the end of the year, there's a couple endurance races in North America, which we've looked at doing, and so might see us out in one of those.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah.
Definitely appreciate your time, Scott.
Yeah.
This was a great conversation.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Too.